hey, I want to talk about you and your bass playing and the band Jinjer, but I guess really quick, since I don't really get too many guests from that are in Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine? Like, what's the music scene like in Ukraine at the moment?
It's a very on point question. I'll give you a very good example. Right before the stream, I was just checking my social media, scrolling down the time lane, and I came across with a very interesting thing. It's called a case study of the Ukrainian music scene and its potential for export and things like that. Well, just a huge amount of work, actually, 200 pages. And, it doesn't really concern me that much, but personally, because, I will explain what I mean. Just give me a few more minutes for this. So what I mean is that in this case study of 200 pages, nobody mentions my band. Nobody mentions Jinjer. Jinjer is actually, if we just count numbers, is the biggest music expert of Ukraine. Then there is no one else. There is no other artist or band from this country who has that many streams, that many views, that many concerts all around the world. And it's not only even about heavy metal music, extreme music. It's just for music overall. Yeah, and this is what I'm driving at. The music scene in Ukraine is very biased, and it is mainly oriented at, if we're talking about big acts, not underground acts, it is just circled around certain acts who just communicate with each other and support each other, and that's it. And they do not really let anyone inside this circle. Yeah, and we, for example, Jinjer has been taken out of, everything. We had no media support. We had just no press support, no coverage in Ukrainian music media at all over 3-4 years now. Yeah, and basically because we play heavy music. Yeah, so they just think that this sort of music, this sort of extreme music, just has no following, and it doesn't deserve any attention. And everything underground, everything extreme goes underground, and it is very amateur in Ukraine. Yeah, there is. If we compare, for example, Finland with Ukraine, it's like black and white. It's like heaven and hell, because they are in Finland. Fortunately, heavy music and extreme music has huge support, huge following, and it is not considered, it is not considered to be sort of outcast. Yeah, if you know what I mean. It may be on the same level with pop acts, for example. Here in Ukraine, it is absolutely different, and this is what I'm driving at. The heavy music scene, extreme music scene in Ukraine is very amateur, is very undeveloped. We don't have any infrastructure. There are no venues. It is very, very hard. It is impossible, for example, to make a living just playing this sort of music. It is impossible. Yeah, the only way for a band like Jinjer, or just any extreme band, is to break through to a foreign market, just to play tours anywhere else but not in Ukraine. And basically, I'm talking about normal world when things are all right. Yeah, when we start talking about things which are happening now, it's like, yeah, it's killing everything. Yeah, there are no concerts, just nothing happening at the moment. But even in a normal world, once you want to play a tour, for example, if Jinjer a year ago wanted to play a tour around Ukraine, we would be able to play 5 shows maximum. This is the tour for the whole country.
And Ukraine's a pretty big country, actually, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it is actually one of the biggest, if not the biggest country in Europe. And we officially have around 40 million people population. Imagine this: in a country with 40 million population, you can play only 5 shows How many people are there in Finland?
I think there's 7 million in Finland, something like
How
that.
many
6 or
shows
7.
How many shows can a band play?
Man,
On the tour?
I've realized that in Finland you can play the whole country all year long. There's so many little venues that you can play. Maybe not so many big places, with like 20,000. But if you do small clubs like 500 seaters, 800 seaters.
That's 500 theaters. Let's just assume it is a band who wants to play 500 theaters. I am absolutely sure there are more than 10 at least. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 million people, and it's not gonna change at all in the nearest future. Just nothing. Nobody even. And this is what I started with. Like, media, the whole industry is just not looking at us. Is not looking at heavy music at all, and it is not considered us worthy being talked about, being supported, and things like that. So it's not going to change. The heavy scene is very amateur here.
But when you say like the heavy scene, now what about like pop music in Ukraine? Is that
it's well developed. There is a huge market. There is there are a few acts who can easily play. Yeah. A few stadium shows, like here in Kiev, in Lvov, in the west of the country, in Kharkov, and it's like 10,000 capacity in Odessa in the south. So and they actually play massive tours around the country, and they are very big. Like, they make huge money on this. But the problem is that these pop acts are strictly limited inside the country. Nobody knows about them around the world. Nobody knows about them even in Poland, or Hungary, countries which border Ukraine.
And I've noticed that throughout Europe. Now, I'm actually from Philadelphia, so I'm from the States, and I've moved to Finland about 5 years ago, and I've been noticing that most of these European countries, Finland, maybe not so much Sweden, but Finland, even Estonia, you're saying Ukraine, Russia, even Russia is a big country. It's like bands that sing in their language are basically going to be within that country, and they're not going to be. Rammstein maybe is an exception of a band that gets huge singing in German, but there's not many of those.
There are not many of those at all, right? There are a few acts like. I know that there are bands now very popular who sing in northern languages, like, because of this Viking vibe is huge, and they are internationally acclaimed, But you're absolutely right. Most of the international acts, it doesn't matter which genre they are, they sing English. That's right.
Yeah, that's a big step. I mean, of course, I want to talk to you more about Jinjer and the band, but this is really interesting that you bring this up, and I really like this because I find the same thing. A lot of the bands here, I work at this place called the Turku Rock Academy, and where we help up-and-coming bands, like younger bands that are coming up. And the bands have to make a decision at some point, like, are you going to stick with singing in your mother language, which would be Finnish, or do you want to take the step and go and sing in English? But once you do that, now you're competing against the whole world, and it's going to be a lot tougher than if you were to stick with maybe singing in Finnish and actually being a pretty successful band touring through Finland, singing Finnish, which people love. And that's
Absolutely.
It
has its own pros and cons. We have to admit this. Thing is that once you're just a small local band and you only start, and if you sing in your own language, it's pretty much easier for you to develop your original fan base, just in your local town, local city, and then be a well-known band inside your country, But once you start singing English, it opens a lot of doors. But it also gives you so much pressure on your shoulders because the competition starts, right? I also understand that. But if for some bands it's not even a question, it's not even something to talk about, because, for example, if we talk about Jinjer, we only have 1.5 songs in our mother tongue in Russian. We only had one song on Cloud Factory album, which is in Russian, and we had the intro for retrospection song from the latest album, Macro, in Russian, and that's it. We just, from the artistic point of view, we never considered even we never even considered to sing in Russian or Ukrainian, because we just, and it's not we took the decision not even based on the criteria that it will be easier for us to break through outside of the country. No, it was just from the artistic point of view that it is better for us to sing in English, and that's it.
And really quick, I guess that song that you do have in Russian, how are the response, and how are the views, and how is that song compared to the other songs?
It's a very good question, because indeed that song was once it was out in 2014, that song had a very good feedback reaction actually in Ukraine and all around Russian-speaking internet. Yeah, the VK.com, if you know the social media, so it is kind of popular on VK.com, and it is popular among Russian fans, Belarusian fans. Yeah, just because of the language.
Okay. And the chats are going crazy. Everybody that's joining today, I really appreciate it. Spasibo, thank you very much for joining. Kitos for joining the chats. I see my mom is posting birthday cakes because today's my 40th birthday.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best wishes. Yeah.
Many
happy returns.
And like I said in the beginning, I couldn't think of any other way to spend it with you talking about Jinjer. And let's talk more about the band. So I want to go through the band members, because I love giving I play music as well, and it's very important that, of course, everybody knows the front lady of the band, but it's very important to know the other members of the band as well, because I think it's very important. So let's go through some of the members, if you don't mind. So obviously,
up to this.
We have, let's talk about the drummer. What's his name? And
Vlad. That's Vlad. Yeah, he is the, let's say, the latest introduction to the band, because he joined us back in 2016. Before that, we changed drummers very often. Yeah, and actually by now, Vlad is the longest lasting drummer in the band. He has been with us for 4 years.
Okay.
And with him, I can say that we finally managed to obtain our perfect shape.
Okay. That's very important. It's very important.
It is, yeah.
And with a name like Vlad, that's such a very Russian sounding name, it sounds like.
Well,
so maybe that
very, very Slavic, very Eastern European, very Slavic, right?
It's awesome. Okay, so then we have the
Roman, yeah.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Roman.
Oh, well, Roman is one of, let's say, it's a matter of fact that actually there are no original members in Jinjer. Somehow when the band was formed and was named Jinjer, none of us were there. None of us was there, yeah. And Roman is one of those who joined the band in the very, very early years, 2009, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I joined later, and Roman is the driving force of the band in the creative way. He has written most of our songs, and definitely a killer guitarist. Yeah, and a very good old friend. Yeah, I've been playing with him since 2011, like 9 years already.
Okay, and that sounds fantastic. He's one of the brains in the band. He's one of the songwriters. Or do you guys all collaborate when it comes to writing music, or is it one person tends to write and then everybody kind of helps, or how does that work?
Well, at the moment we are all involved into writing. The last 2-3 releases were written all together, especially Macro, the last album, and Micro too. The last EP and album, which we released back in 2019, a year ago, were written like just as a band. There are songs which were written by Roman, Vlad, me, and we all together worked on the arrangements, and put it all together.
That's
Back in
really.
the days.
Oh,
Well,
go ahead.
this is how it is being done at the moment. But back in the days, 9 years ago, most of the material was written by Roman and by then guitarist. We used to have two guitarists at that time. Yeah, it was Dimitri, and they used to write 99% of our songs back in the days. Now it is absolutely different. We are all involved into.
I was just going to say that's super fantastic to hear because I really like it when a band can actually all collaborate together and there's not necessarily, of course there's always going to be one person that has more of a writing type of style or creativity, but when everybody gets to throw in and collaborate and help with writing, that's always a good thing. For me, personally, I like to hear that, so it's really cool to hear that you guys are doing that as also. Then we have this guy. Tell us about this guy.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
I actually look quite different from what I used to look. It was 2 years ago. Yeah, this is from Ape video, and we filmed it in the end of 2018, 2 years ago. And since that, I lost around 20 kilograms of weight. Yeah,
maybe that's a better picture.
Yeah, that's a better picture. This is it's the recent one. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's me, Eugene. I play the bass. Yeah, nobody pays attention at bass guitarists. Yeah, we just stand back.
It's funny you say that because I play bass right now in a band with Andy McCoy, and that is quite the joke. I like to kind of joke around with myself and say, "I'm just the bass player. What do I know?" But as you know, Eugene, the bass is very, very important, and if without us, we hold the band down. Us and the drummer, we hold the whole band.
Yeah, this is the. I also agree with you. Yeah, rhythm section is the most important thing in a band, musically, not vocally, because of course every band. What makes a band stand out is a vocalist.
Yeah,
it is common for all big acts. If I keep saying this in many interviews that. If we look at all legendary bands, like super big, all this Metallica, just the Beatles even, or Iron Maiden, all of them stand out mostly because of their vocalists. Because the vocalists are either extremely talented vocally, or they are very good vocally, and at the same time they are perfect frontmen.
Yes, or women. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And before we get into the front lady of the band, I just wanted to talk about your bass because you have, like I said, I'm a bass player, and I saw this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I saw your bass, and
I lost you, but the connection is okay now. Could you repeat, please? Yeah, go on.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say I saw your bass in this picture, and it's such a cool bass. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I find it I think it's really cool. It's got the individual saddles. It looks like a really good bass. So tell us about it.
It is an awesome instrument. This is my signature series, Achilles 5 by Overload Guitars.
Okay.
And this is my first ever signature series. And I'm absolutely happy about this. We collaborated with Overload Guitars, worked on the design together, on the specs together, and this is a thing which suits me just best because, first of all, if you do you want to go into real details like specs and everything?
We don't. We don't need to go into super details, but if you can go into some, like I'm sure everybody listening would be interested as well because
why I like it. I'll just keep it short. Why I like this very instrument much because. First of all, it is very, very comfortable to play, and it fits my hands very well because I don't have very long fingers, but with this bass I can reach everything easily. And what is even more important is the sound, because with this bass, sound is a little bit scooped. It doesn't have that much of low middle frequency. Yeah, okay. And this is exactly what I need in our music. And in my opinion, this is exactly what a lot of bass guitarists need in heavy music and extreme music, because you need to have a lot of attack, a lot of punch in your sound, and you need to have very, very strong lows. This is what bass does once you start playing heavy riffs. Yeah, and I have all of this with this guitar. It cuts through the mix because of its very powerful highs and very powerful high middle frequency, and it also has very, very good foundation of lows.
And what company and where is that company based out of that makes that?
They come from Italy, from Rome. It is called Overload guitars and basses. Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to check this out. Like I said, I play bass, and I saw this, and I was like, man. And a lot of people in the chats are interested, obviously, in the specs, because one of the guys is saying pickups. What kind of pickups does
Aguilar.
it have?
These are Aguilar pickups. Yeah.
Nice.
But what? Just the last. I'll finish on the guitar just with the last point. What I like most about this is that it is a headless guitar, and it has different construction of tuners. Yeah. The problem with the standard tuners is that you actually spin the string once you start turning it. It spins over its own axis, and that is why the string never sounds the way it should. So it always brings something wrong into it. With this construction, you just start stretching. You start stretching the string along its axis, and that's why you have more tension. You have just way more tension with the string, and it doesn't lose anything in terms of the sound.
Okay, man, that is a sweet bass, and that's actually cool to know. And I know a lot of up and coming and aspiring, and also bigger musicians watch this all the time, and I think everybody's interested in music and all that stuff. So now let's talk about the front lady of the band. Let me see if I can pull her up.
Everybody wants to talk about Tatiana.
Yeah, so tell me about Tatiana, and just a little bit of how so I can get an idea.
This is the pearl of the band, definitely, and this is what I was, we all, a lot of people say that we are cool musicians, and I kind of agree with this sometimes partially, but definitely this is what makes us stand out, her vocal and her ability to switch between extreme vocals and clean vocals. Yeah, this is what catches people's attention, and then after people just start listening to the band, then it is our job to keep their attention, to keep them with us, the fans. And what me personally, what I really love about Tatiana and about her as a vocalist is actually her creative skills, her skills as a composer, because everything she sings, we have nothing to do with this. We like I said in many interviews before, sometimes, not even sometimes, most of the times, we never know what she's going to sing until we come to the studio. Until she starts singing right in the control room in front of the mic, we never know what she's going to sing, what she's going to do in the next song. And this is what makes her that special, because there are a lot of girls who can sing well, who can sing very high, who have very, very wide range, who can growl, who can sing, but there are not many musicians, not many vocalists around the world who can make such intricate and catchy vocal lines, who can, really bring something new to the genre. And this is what Tatiana does. Actually, what she sings is the most important. It is not really important how she sings. It is more important what exactly she sings.
Mm. And I've been listening to the music, and I agree. I think she has a great way of going from singing to just super low growling, more than even most men can do, it seems. And she's very talented at switching between the two, which is very, very awesome. And you guys are a very heavy band. And, I saw that you guys, like I had this picture up already. I mean, you guys have been playing some pretty decent sized shows all over the place. So, but I think that back to what we were talking about right now, more than ever, what we need to do, and everybody that's watching this, if you haven't heard of Jinjer, please go and check out their music. And if you like their music, share it with your friends, because right now is more than ever that we need to support rock and roll bands, metal bands, not only to support the bands, but also because these venues that us bands play in, 500, 800 seaters, even bigger, are at risk of closing down because of the whole COVID situation, and there's no shows right now. So by supporting the bands in return, it's like a big circle. It's like then the bands can make it to the venues, and the venues can stay open. And, not only just supporting the band by sharing their music, but also, you guys have a ton of merchandise, actually. I was very surprised. You have so many different types of merchandise. So also by supporting the band by getting their merchandise is very, very important. And even every one person makes a big difference by getting a T-shirt or a CD or a vinyl or whatever it is that you guys have. And how do you feel about that? Like, are you worried about the venues at risk of shutting?
I'm worried about the whole industry. It's not only about venues, but they are actually under threat, I think, the most. But it is actually bad that not many people, not many fans understand that there are not only musicians in this industry. There are people who are involved and who never show up. You never see them, who always stand behind the scenes. They are the crew, they are the local crew in the venues, they are promoters, they are bookers, and there are thousands of people who actually, it is not even that they do not work, they are not working at the moment, they are taken out of this, they are prohibited to work. And this is a different thing. This is what nobody really understands, or just a few people understand, unfortunately. That actually the whole entertainment industry suffers a lot. And there are many skeptics who tend to say, oh, we don't really care because this is not essential. But those skeptics jump in their car or just come home and sit at home for half a year. And what they do, they listen to music, they watch movies, and they actually enjoy artists' work. So from this perspective and this point of view, artists, musicians, filmmakers, just all types of artists are not that unessential, actually. I'm sorry, just finishing my point. And taking one of the clockworks out of this mechanism of the industry, like shutting down venues or making thousands of crew people go into a different work, changing their occupation, will ruin everything because the whole chain will break. And this is what we should not let happen.
No, especially since we all, as concert goers, everybody that goes to a concert, we all know that we love it. And if it gets taken away, we're not going to love that. And I think there was just a big protest in Italy with all the roadies were in the square pounding on the road boxes. And to bring up your point, every country handles it differently also. So some countries are making it even more difficult by saying, well, we're not technically going to shut down everything. So you can still technically work. So you won't be eligible to get compensation, help by the government or grants, which puts everybody in a position, because if there's no shows, how are they supposed to work? There's no way they can work, even though they're allowed to work. It's very... it's
a tricky situation. It's a very tricky situation. Yeah, I agree completely. Because most of these people from the industry never have a chance to get any support from the government, any unemployment support, and it's really bad. I perfectly understand what you mean, and just talking about the way you're right, saying that every country deals with the situation differently, and I experienced this on my personal, on my back actually, because a month ago we did a mini tour in Germany and Switzerland, and first of all we played the social distancing shows. When in Germany people were seated at tables, separated one from another, and first of all I was very, very pleased by how local crews, venues, promoters accepted us. They were very happy to see us. They were saying thank you almost every time we met anyone in the venue, because finally something is happening, and we brought them sort of a hope for the future. At the same time, fans who came to see us were extremely happy to finally experience live music. Not all these live streams, which are of course okay, but nothing will be able to replace real live show when you actually experience the sound pressure and things like that. So the real live vibe. Fans were extremely happy to see us there. Yeah, but as long as every country just deals with this situation differently, after playing the show in Germany, when like you see, everyone is seated on a table. Yeah, there are groups of people, like 10 people at each table. They are let not wear their masks when they are seated, just the way you do this in a restaurant now. Yeah, but then we went to Switzerland, and actually Switzerland deals with the situation differently, and there are almost no restrictions. The only restrictions they have is that the audience is, of course, not full capacity, like 70% of the capacity, not even 50, not even 40 like Americans, but 70, around that. And they separate the audience into groups of 100 people.
Wow.
Inside these 100 people, there is no social distancing.
That's very strange.
It's very strange, but these are official regulations in Switzerland. Yeah. And we, of course, had some backlash on the internet, because people now are very separated in each country. They think that the situation is exactly the same there in their country and in the rest of the world. And then they see that there is visibly no social distancing, and they start backlash. They start screaming and accusing a band of just helping the COVID to destroy the whole world. But it is not even the fault. We just come to a different place and follow local rules there.
Yeah,
and that's it. Yeah, go on.
I just want to make a point. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's so true. And the fact of the matter is, as a musician, like I've said myself, listen, all of us bands that are playing, we do not want to get anybody sick. We do not want to risk anybody getting sick. It's not what we're trying to do. It's if the promoters and the country and the government that's involved in putting on these shows, if they're allowing us to play, then of course we're going to play, because they decided that it's okay and the restrictions and stuff like that. So at no point should anybody be putting any blame to any of these bands, because we are not out to get people sick. That is not our intentions.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right. But I just started to think that some people are getting, it's a bad word, but I will use it. Some people are getting too brainwashed, because there is a lot of propaganda now, because political parties start to use this for their own favor. Yeah, and as a side effect, we have such a reaction. But all we do is that we just come to play, do our job, and we follow restrictions which are actually set by medical authorities. Once you come to Rome, do as Romans do. Yeah, so I cannot come to Switzerland and start freaking out and changing the rules. I'm not a medical authority. I cannot make them do it in a different way, because this is how they have been. Actually, do you know that in Switzerland they have been holding shows for 4 months, since June? They play shows there since June.
Well, I like I said, I'm here in Finland now, and we've actually, over the summer, like August, we were playing summer festival gigs outside, thousands of people. All the shows have been open. Right now in Finland, I will say they're starting to get rigid again, and everybody's putting the masks on.
Because of the second wave.
Because of the second wave, and because it's flu season, and everybody's freaking out when you get the flu, then everybody thinks they have COVID, and I think it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. I think this is going to be a tough winter.
I agree. This is what is happening here in Ukraine too. That of course we experience sort of a second wave now, but it is very hard to to understand whether this is a COVID or flu at the early stages of the disease. Yeah, and the situation is getting worse here. But I'm happy to know that the music was doing that well in Finland over all this time. Yeah.
It was very surprising, yeah.
It is very surprising. And actually, I love Finnish summer festivals. You have a bit different vibe there because of the nights, which are actually white nights. Yeah, there is almost no dark during the night. Yeah, and I really miss not playing in Finland this summer. We were supposed to play again in Oulu at Kostyuk.
Yeah,
love that thing. Love that festival.
I've played there a few times with two different bands, with CKY and with Fuckface Unstoppable. And there's actually somebody in the chats from Oulu, the Muska. He said hello earlier in the chats I was reading. And Oulu is a phenomenal place, and that Kostyuk festival is great. And I'm sure everybody in Finland wants Jinjer to come there. So hopefully, maybe next year or the year after, you guys will be here.
I'm looking forward to next summer as a sort of the light of the end of the tunnel. To be honest, it's like I really hope that things will calm down before next summer, and we will be able to play, the whole range of summer festivals all around Europe and the world. I'm looking forward to this so much. Yeah. Honestly.
And I see that he's in the comments, the Muska, he said he really wanted to see you guys there. But no worries, because look, we got to do what we got to do right now. But when the shows do open back up, we're going to get Jinjer back into Finland. Don't you worry, everything's going to be fine.
I can't wait, guys. I can't wait. Yeah.
So let's, man, we've been going for a while, so we should probably start wrapping it up soon. But I wanted to go over a couple new things, and of course, any news that you have. I know the guys at Chaos would love to get all the news that we can get. But anyway, there's this this thing that you guys have out recently. So tell us about this.
Yeah, just do not forget to check out a new video tomorrow. We are releasing the 6th, if I'm not mistaken, single from our latest album, Macro. Tomorrow it's gonna be Prophecy, another official video, and it's honestly one of maybe my favorite official video we've ever made. Okay. Because the whole process of filming was extremely entertaining, and you will be able to check it out tomorrow. Yeah. Now after filming this video, I actually only want to film like that. Only want to film like that, and you will understand what I mean tomorrow. You will understand what I mean tomorrow. And actually, like bringing some exclusive information up, we will be releasing a official video for every song from our latest album. So it's not only Prophecy, just stay tuned. There are a few more songs left from the album, and each song will have an official music video.
Hey, that's great that you brought that up, because, as I've been doing these live streams, I've done over 150 of these now in the past couple months, and I've talked to so many different bands. And some of the people have been saying that nowadays, more than ever, when you release a song, it's very important to have even up to 3 videos per song. So like a lyric video, a main video, and even a promo video for the release of the song. And I remember about 2 years ago, videos were starting to be like not as important or not as relevant because people were going to shows all the time. But now it seems like that the shows are canceled. The videos are actually more important than ever. What do you feel about that?
Well, I always considered videos and YouTube as one of the main tools to promote your music. We did it since very early years when we were just a small local band. We just started making videos. No, it doesn't matter what type of videos. It was a live video or a lyric video or an official video with a story. Yeah, but this is what drives you forward very much. Yeah, because YouTube is a huge platform. There are billions of people there watching you. And this is, I think, one of the easiest way to catch their attention. And you are right saying that each song must have just even a few videos, because it can be an official video, and then after a while, playing live shows, you can make an official live video. Yeah, and maybe if a song has a very strong lyrics and message, it is worth making also a lyric video because, well, not everybody understands English well, and especially if you sing growl, it's in an extreme way. It is very hard to catch the lyrics, and then it is really worth making a lyric video.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that you guys are doing really well, keeping relevant. I really appreciate the fact that you're on the live streams, because a lot of bands are starting or had started to think maybe it's time to throw in the towel, and maybe it's tough times. But I think what we all can do is like what you're doing, Eugene. You're on the live streams. You're talking about your band. You guys are making new videos. You guys are out there. You got over 300,000 followers on Instagram, and you're keep growing as a band and keep spreading your, like you said, if Ukraine is kind of keeping you guys held back a bit, you guys are like, okay, well, we'll just go out everywhere else and get people to be interested in us. And I think that's obviously what every band can be doing right now. We can all be doing lots of work.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Well, it matters that we're not playing live, and I have to admit that playing live is one of the cornerstones of a rock and roll band. We're all rock and roll, and without playing live, we are not complete. We cannot be called a complete band, for example, if we do not play live. But in this situation, when we're just when we cannot do that, we still have a lot of other things to do. Yeah, just like making videos, making playthrough videos. Over this time, since March, the guys and me, we've made tons of playthrough videos, just showing how we play this and that. Yeah, and also playing. A lot of bands started playing live stream concerts, which is also good. Yeah, when we played that mini tour a month ago, we just made the live streams from the shows themselves. Yeah, there are a lot of things a band can do now. And there are a lot of ways a band can maintain its activity. And also, I have to speak about this. There are a lot of ways a band may make some money to be able to go through these terrible times. Because, well, money matters. We need to eat something. We need to we need to bring some bread to the table, just make our living. But there are ways to go through this situation. There are financially, I mean, there are ways to support ourselves. Like a lot of bands, smaller bands, started this Patreon thing, and it helps. I know it helps. Yeah, so why not? This is not. We all need to understand that what is happening now is not the end of the world. Fortunately. Yeah, this COVID thing is not that deadly. It is bad. Yeah, but this is not the end of the world. We will be able to make through. And I'm sure there is already some light at the end of the tunnel, that things will come down soon. So we just need to stay strong.
I agree. I agree with you. And I think when we do come through, it's all the bands that have been putting in the work, like yourself, that's going to have a step up above everybody else that kind of was decided to, well, maybe we'll just watch Netflix and maybe see what we can do and afterwards. Because like you said, there's a lot of work to be done. And also, I really like the point that you bring up that there are ways to make money. You can go on Twitch, you can go on Patreon, you can make videos, you can release music for people to purchase, you can have merchandise. And that's why I keep saying, like, it's very important for all of us listeners of bands, support your bands, because like I said, in return, supporting the bands is going to go into the concerts, and it's the big circle, all the roadies and everybody, they all get supported by supporting the machine that's providing the entertainment. And that's what we are. We're entertainers and we're artists, and we make music and we like to perform. And without live shows, there would be no more rock and roll, and that would suck. So we can't make that happen. we can't let that happen.
Make that happen at all. Yeah. Rock and roll must live on and on.
So I really think this was a super fantastic live stream with you. I really I find it very soothing to talk to you. You seem like a very cool dude. And, I hope that we can continue a relationship after this, and maybe we can even collaborate on some music sometime. Who knows? But let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch, because you're a really cool dude. And thank you very much for joining the stream. I hear the little one in the background is probably looking for his dad or something. So you should probably give that.
I've got a younger son now. He's 4 months old now, and
Okay.
sometimes
Aw.
he goes naughty, but he is a very sweet dude. Very sweet dude. Love him. Yeah, gonna go and rock him now. Yeah.
I got a little boy coming on the way, January 31st.
Congrats!
So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much.
Your first son?
It'd be my first son. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and now I have a little boy. So, oh boy.
Congrats! Now you have full pack. I have only sons. I have an elder son and now a younger son. But
Okay.
I'm sure I'm gonna have a daughter one day too.
Aw. Well, hey.
Yeah, I love children.
Keep those Polyon. Spasibo. Thank you very much for joining the stream. This has been such a pleasure. On
Thanks
my birthday, I couldn't get anything better than this. And we will do this again maybe in a couple months when the shows start opening. We can talk about how you guys are doing and check out Jinjer, everybody. Where can we see you guys on? I guess Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff. Google you guys. Everything comes up. I'm sure that's where you guys would be found, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. See you next time. Bye.
All right. I will see you on the next stream. Rock and roll. Bye-bye.
Bye.